So, I want to show you something. An insane guy called John Homan or something. So, the next 1 hour of this live stream is going to be on a different topic. It's about discussing illegal immigration, how the conversation, discourse put forward by this fascinating new border czar under Trump absolutely applies to India, his arguments, and all the people countering him, all the arguments both in favor and against illegal immigration, all the empathy-based, sympathy-based arguments versus national security arguments. But most importantly, I felt a personal satisfaction in my heart at the way this guy responded to his critics in Senate hearings and congressional hearings. Okay, because people like Pramila Jayapal, there was another woman who came on Timpul's podcast a few months back, a very very Democrat-loving woman in her late 40s or mid 50s, I guess. Okay, that generation of liberal women in America just think that they will speak in a low octave. Many young politicians in West Bengal also have picked this up. So I'll just decrease the octave of my voice, and actually Smriti Irani has also picked this up, and everyone will take me seriously. And then there's the obsession with feminism in the West, and especially in Democrat circles. So yes, she will be my mommy the moment I speak, the moment she speaks in a low octave. Okay, and the specific movements of eyebrows, which unfortunately Deepika Padukone has picked up. She used to look like such a cute woman before she got this trick, and that she applies all the time in every expression, in every photo shoot, in every music video, in every scene, in every character. Okay, which is her eyebrows will always be like this. This is the sign of an elegant, strong, independent woman. Okay, you can't speak like this. It has to be like this. Okay, so a low octave and that kind of an eyebrow sort of gives you a get out of jail free card, and no man ever counters you. Now, the reason I like that episode of Timpul is because, and the reason I like this Homan person's interaction with Pramila Jayapal, these two women, it seemed like they were countered on anything in their lives for the first time in 30-40 years, probably. Timpul kept on giving facts, data after facts and data, counter argument after counter argument. Everything came across as brand new information to that woman, and to everything she said, okay, but it's okay, but directionally speaking, am I not right? And Timpul again explains to her why she is not right, but she speaks in that calm, dignified, low octave tone, and she speaks slowly so that she's taken seriously by men. And Pramila Jayapal was also very fascinated at the way this Homan guy talked to her. I love how natural Homan was. Okay, Pramila Jayapal seemed surprised. Huh? How can you speak to me this way? All her upward eyebrows and low octave went out of the window at that very moment. We are going to check out those juicy introductions.
I respect the chair's authority, but the chair,
Mr. Homan,
Look at that surprise. Look at that surprise. She's not offended. She's in a way, but this is not just any interaction. Okay, she has been countered. Someone has remotely been rude to her in 30 years. This is that interaction. How can you mere fucking mortal, you human being with a penis and two balls, how can you speak to me in this way? I am a woman in the richest, most prosperous country in the world, and I pretend to be a leftist. How then are you speaking to me in this manner, in this tone? That's the surprise here.
work for me. I'm a taxpayer.
Look at the surprise in her eyes. Okay?
I'm a taxpayer. You work for me.
Mr. Homan, is there anything you'd like to respond to what you've heard today?
Yeah, I'd like to respond to Acting Chairman Jayapal on your comment about the Trump administration moving money around for more detention beds. I'd like to remind you, under the Obama administration, we did that most of the years he was president. We moved money around. DHS is called reprogramming. We did that under the Obama administration. I don't remember any hearings on that. And also, I'd like to remind you that under the Obama administration, I mean, you're quick to point out that the cages were built under Obama administration. I was there. Family detention, we had 100 family beds under Obama administration. We built 3,000 more. So when there was a surge in FY14 and FY15 on the border, Congress was quick to give all the money we needed to build detention facilities, get transportation contracts. We reprogrammed money out of the majority of the years she was president. That was fine. Under Obama administration, FY12, we removed 409,000 people, half of what was removed last year. There was no hearings on that. So this is about transparency. Let's be factual about it.
The time of the gentleman has expired. Since you did address some comments at me, I'll just say that I didn't like it under the Obama administration either. In fact,
But be honest with the American people.
Excuse
You
me.
can't point out faults in the Trump administration.
See the way she said excuse me. It's just not any excuse me, any random excuse me that, hey, I'm speaking. Don't interrupt me. It was excuse me. It was that kind of a sassy excuse me, which is again a classic liberal woman trope. We are just lucky today that she did not give the annoying California white girl accent, that those affectations, but she is very surprised that someone can even interrupt her.
Administration what happened
Mr.
under Obama
Homan.
administration. That's dishonesty. It's pathetic and it's sad.
Mr. Homan,
Oh my god. Oh, I'm so glad this Homan guy did not play the fake humility card. Oh my god. In my infinite gratitude to Homan, he kept interrupting, kept finishing his sentence. If you don't let him finish his sentence, he is not going to let you finish your sentences. This is the simple Vivek Ramaswamy rule as well.
I control the time and I am the chairwoman of the committee. Thank you for respecting that. I didn't like it under the Obama administration, and I'll remind you, Mr. Homan, that you also testified before Congress in support of the Obama's priorities enforcement program before the Senate Judiciary Committee on May 19th, 2016, which had a very different approach.
Well,
With
can I
that-
respond to that?
with
Can I
that,
respond to that?
No.
Of course
you may
not.
And Mr. Homan, I want to give you some time, but I do want to ask one quick question, and I want to make one quick statement. I find it very offensive that anybody would compare any federal employee, frankly, to someone who, the Gestapo or running Nazi concentration camps. That is very offensive. I have 15 seconds and I yield it to you.
Thank you for saying that. I wish somebody in Democratic leadership would say that out loud. Look, you want to know why there's 50,000 people in detention? You want to know why we have 1 million illegal entries in the United States? You want to know why we have these issues? Because you have failed to secure the border. You have failed to work with this president to close the 3 loopholes we've asked for 2 years to close. So if you want to know why this issue exists, you need to look in the mirror. You have failed American people for not securing the border and closing loopholes.
Mr. Homan,
Look,
please respect the chair and the authority of the chair. The time of the gentleman has expired.
I've asked you politely to let me go beyond my time, and you let other people go beyond their time, but not to Tom Homan. He don't get to go beyond his time.
Mr. Homan, we have
This is
approved
a
an
circus.
agreement
This is a circus.
between the Republicans and the Democrats with the ranking member. We increased the time of one witness, one member of Congress who was interrupted by a protest. That is done with the approval of the ranking member. Please respect the chair's authority. The
I
gentleman.
respect the chair's authority, but the chair.
Mr. Homan.
You work for
excuse
me. I'm a taxpayer. I'm a taxpayer. You work for me.
Are you guys seriously looking at her expressions? This is not the expression of a calm mind. Let's say Vivek was in this exact same position. Let's say Vivek was a Democrat and he was being countered in the same way. Vivek would not have this expression. This woman is absolutely on a fucking power trip, like Anand keeps on pointing. This is the face of a person who's power drunk, who has never been debated or countered by anyone, let alone a man. Okay, this is a feminist nightmare. What we are witnessing here. First of all, she's surprised by everything. She's pissed off, and then at one point she freezes with anger. Someone in her position is not supposed to have those kinds of emotions.
The chair's authority.
ये मार्कस ऑरेलियस का भोसरी का मेडिटेशन सिर्फ हम वर्कआउट वालों के लिए ही है क्या? ये पॉलिटिशियंस कभी नहीं पढ़ेंगे stoicism, voicism.
I respect the chair's authority, but the chair.
Mr. Homan.
You work for me. I'm a taxpayer.
Look at this surprise.
I'm a taxpayer.
Look at the freeze.
You work for me.
Ms. Homan, again, been one of them days you've sort of
Yeah,
not had time.
I appreciate it. First of all, I think everybody needs to be reminded, entering this country illegally is a crime. There's no prerequisite. You got to commit yet another crime to enforce the law. That's the law you enacted. A young lady over here mentioned 26 deaths in ICE custody. Wrong. That number's 9, and 1's too many. But out of the majority of those 9 deaths, which is the lowest of any federal and state facility, most of them died within days of detention. It wasn't ICE's fault. They came in ICE's custody in bad condition. So, and the year before that, majority more heart attacks. I don't know how heart attacks happen across this country every day.
Yeah, except Shastri, on the day Modi went, she stood there gleefully, giddily clapping for Modi.
I don't know how you prevent that. So 9, not 26. And finally, I'll say this, sir. Your comment about me wanting to assault a lawmaker. Let me explain myself to that. Probably not the right thing to say, but I was angry. Let me tell you why you're angry, because you or no one else in this room has seen what I've seen in my 34 years. You didn't stand in the back of a tractor trailer shot my 19 dead aliens that suffocated to death because the smuggler didn't care, including a 5-year-old boy. What do you think his last 30 minutes were like? I was there. I seen it. I smelled it. I saw it. And I had.
You see, the world is beyond good and evil. You can't have sympathy for someone to such an extent, or you can't pretend to have, you can't afford to pretend to have sympathy for someone to such an extent that they fucking die of starvation in a communist society or die of suffocation while getting smuggled into USA. Okay, you are creating incentives for such situations.
5-year-old boy at the time, and it changed me for the rest of my life. I've seen people who couldn't pay their smuggling fees get stabbed in the face 22 times. 31% of women are being raped crossing this border. Children are dying. Cartels are getting rich. Why am I angry? Because you.
So he's arguing that I'm not just doing this just to protect my country's borders. I'm doing this to not create incentives for those people as well. I'm the one going and facing and seeing those things, not facing, of course.
You haven't done anything to fix it. Nothing. We've been up here for 2 years trying to close the 3 loopholes that Collins said needs to be closed. And you haven't taken one action. But if there's a policy or initiative that's going to cause an illegal alien to be arrested or be detained or be removed, we're going to have a hearing within days. Within days. But I'm still waiting on a hearing on sanctuary cities because these people's lives have been changed forever. Where's the hearing on sanctuary cities? Where's the hearings? Where's the hearing on the asylum abuse? Where's the hearing on the TV PRAs where we treat children from Central America better? That's why I'm angry, sir. I know.
See, guys, don't you feel in your hearts what Homan is saying? And I think a lot of people over the years, in the last 50 years, of course, have thought that the way to get liked in Western society, at least in American politics, is to play the nice, dignified card. Even if you are not like that in your personal life, just pretend. And people never get away with pretending in public life. Trump was the first one to show that, yes, you can get away with not pretending to be a truly professional, let's say, bhadralok. Now, what I predict is that in the coming years, you will see everyone pretending to be Trump. Okay, just like after Gangs of Wasseypur, everyone started delivering dialogues in order to sound natural. They kept mumbling through their dialogues insanely fast. One unfortunate example is Taapsee Pannu. She used to be such a fine actress. One fine morning, I guess she got the memo that she has to be the frazzled, and now I don't know what the fuck she's ever saying in any movie. But she's the natural, bubbly, chirpy, energetic girl from the villages of Punjab. Therefore, she speaks like that, bro. No other reason. No one's copying anyone. And like after Steve Jobs, especially after Ashton Kutcher's Jobs movie came out, everyone decided or thought that, okay, since Steve Jobs was such an asshole to his employees, I'll just be an asshole to my employees and I'll be a successful entrepreneur. No. Steve Jobs was a visionary and it came naturally to him. It came out as a passionate moment, even to his employees. And now if you are not such an aggressive person in your personal life, don't pretend to do that. And a person like Vivek Ramaswamy, maybe once in a while, or a person like Ben Shapiro, maybe, those guys will never be able to pull this off if they want to fake it just to come across as passionate. This guy is coming across as passionate in this manner is because this guy is probably actually like that. Okay, and that's why it's hitting us here directly.
Where's the hearing on sanctuary cities? Where's the hearings? Where's the hearing on the asylum abuse? Where's the hearing on the TV PRAs where we treat children from Central America better? That's why I'm angry, sir. I know it's not paying attention, but that's why I'm angry, because you have not seen what I've seen, and it affected me in my life. I spent my career trying to save lives. And when I see what's going on in the southern border right now, and you're ignoring it for political reasons, why not have a hearing on that? Why not fix the problem and close the loopholes? Why not? There's no downside in securing our border. There's no downside in illegal immigration being decreased. There's no downside unless drugs come to this country. Opioids, I see stuff, opioids kill every man, woman, child 3 times. There's no downside in taking money out of cartels' hands. None.
I yield back.
Mr. Jordan.
Mr. Homan, the actions you took when you were director of ICE were entirely consistent with the law of the land, weren't they?
Boishalidi, the dialogues of the Democrats were not peddled by West Bengal CPIM and Trinamool, okay? Those dialogues went to Democrats at the hands of Bengali communists. And I have made this evil joke in my inner circles. I don't know why I feel inclined to share this with the public, but this is a joke, guys. This is a joke. Don't make a clip out of it. That if Trump does decide to become fascist and kill out and kick out any illegal immigrant, just kick out maybe the Bengalis and the country will improve.
Yes, when someone's prosecuted for a crime, the child can't go to jail with a parent.
Yep.
That happens to American.
Insanely important point that no Democrat probably got the memo.
Mr. Jordan,
Mr. Holman, the actions you took when you were director of ICE were entirely consistent with the law of the land, weren't they?
Yes, when someone's prosecuted for a crime, the child can't go to jail with a parent.
Yep.
That happens to American families every day.
Yeah, and if we, as you said, I think earlier, if we don't like the law, last time I checked, it's the folks sitting up here got to change it.
Yeah.
And you've offered, I think, no more than 4 times, 3 changes to the law that would help the situation. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Maybe make it a 5th time. Can you say it a 5th time for this group? Just, because again, we're the ones that have to change the law. So give us that recommendation a 5th time, the 3 things that we got to do.
If we would close the loopholes in the TVPRA, where children in Central America are treated the same as children in Mexico, if we would change the Florida settlement agreement so we can actually detain families in family setting long enough to see a judge and plead their case, if we can change the rules of asylum so it makes more sense so 90% of the people don't pass the first interview and a lot fewer pass in front of a judge, those 3 things would make a big difference on the border and decrease the illegal entry.
Because those 3 things go to the heart of the matter. They go to the incentive. Is that right?
They go to incentive along with the other things, such as talking about abolishing ICE, having no detention, free education,
Yeah.
free medical care, citizenship for those who are here illegally. When you keep offering incentives for people to come, sanctuary cities, come to this country, you'll be protected from ICE.
Remember that Supreme Court judgment or the Assam High Court judgment, I think, which talked about this exact factor even in the context of Indian illegal immigration. Okay, that there are push factors as well as pull factors, which is increasing and causing illegal immigration from Bangladesh to India.
As long as you keep having this language,
kind of
more people
statements,
who are
those kind of-
vulnerable people are going to keep trying to come.
Those kind of statements made by Democrats in the United States Congress or in positions of influence in this country, they have an impact, don't they?
They have a significant impact.
When a member of Congress says abolish ICE, when another member of Congress says abolish.
Now, notice something. We are in a psychoanalysis session today. So, this guy, I forgot his name. He's also very much liked by MAGA Republicans, but even he is interrupting him so many times. Of course, to agree with him, but he is interrupting because, of course, everyone's short of time. But you see, the way he's interrupting and the way even then this Homan guy is reacting, it shows you he's not part of the elites. He's not part of their club, okay? He's still pissed off with that as well, but he's of course saying that, yeah, okay, you are agreeing with me anyway. But yes, he doesn't want to just mingle among the elites here. He wants to say his piece as authentically as possible.
DHS, when the Speaker of the House says walls are
Jim
immoral,
Jordan.
when the person who gave the State of the Union response to the President's State of the Union says she's okay with non-citizens voting, that all has an impact, doesn't it? Just like the laws that you're sworn to uphold and impact and do when you're the director of ICE.
It has a significant impact. And if this would have been fixed years ago, we probably wouldn't have seen zero tolerance. We wouldn't see the conditions on the border
But
today.
because the laws haven't been changed, because of the statements that have been made, there was a crisis.
Did you see his reaction to getting interrupted?
There is a crisis on the border. And that just didn't happen yesterday. Right? You think about this. There was a crisis. The administration asks for help. Democrats say it's contrived, it's manufactured, it's fake, it's not real. Then when the real crisis gets actually worse, the Democrats blame the administration for the very crisis they helped create by the things they said and the fact it won't change the law. But somehow it's your problem. Somehow.
Yeah, Anand, actually. Yes, he's on a power trip because somehow he thinks those few precious minutes that the Homan guy has to speak, to actually give real data and facts on the issue, Jim Jordan thinks, no, he needs to hog that bit of a limelight to give out his speech that he can use as clips to go viral for the next time he stands in an election. All fucking insane, guys.
Now it's the president's problem. And we have Miss Costello, who went down there, her team went down there and looked this all over as the inspector general. said there's some concerns that she has, and the cause of the concerns they're trying to ascertain. Now, she also said agents are doing, I think your statement was agents are doing their level best. Is that right, Ms. Costello?
That's the experience of our inspectors.
So the
at their visits.
inspector general goes down there with your team, and you conclude the agents, the people that Mr. Homan used to represent, are doing their darn best they can do, but they're overwhelmed. And then you also said in your statement, in your answers a few minutes ago, you're trying to ascertain the cause. Well, that's pretty simple to figure out the cause. It's the numbers. In October, 60,000 apprehensions and inadmissibles on the border, October of last year. You know what it was in May of this year?
Okay, Nina has a question that, okay, but my question to you is this not relevant to India according to you because we are not going to have a debate like this, or is it not relevant to India because we don't have these problems? Because the people who are against NRCCA, against kicking out any illegal immigrant, even the libertarians and the absolute commies, like for example, ACUCI, I have heard them with my own ears say that we demand that every illegal immigrant, not illegal immigrant, at least those Rohingyas and stuff, they must be given citizenship here. And there is no such thing as illegal immigrants. They are just poor, hungry people who are coming to this country, which allegedly is also filled up with Islamophobic, poor, hungry people. But somehow they are going to have a nice life here. And as long as people keep saying that their life is going to be great here, just for humanitarian purposes, let's allow them to come here for an hour after. We will these debates will be relevant to us.
144,000. We know the cause. They're all coming. And they're coming because things the other side's saying, and the fact we won't change 3 fundamental things in the law. And it also might help, Mr. Homan, it also might help, because these are the ones these are apprehensions, people presenting themselves at ports of entry. It also might help if we build a border security wall, right? Instead of having the Speaker of the House say they're immoral, even though there's one in her state, it might actually help if we built the border security wall that the American people voted this president in office to do. It might actually help if we did that. Would you agree, Mr. Homan?
Absolutely. Every place they built a border barrier, every single place they built a border barrier, illegal immigration decreased.
Yeah, it would help with some of the tragic things that we have heard about, tragic situations that we've heard about the last couple of days, this entire week in this committee, that no one wants to see happen. The young mother who lost her daughter, it's tragic. No one wants those, but if we did the things you're talking about, we could help avoid some of those kind of incidents from happening in the future. Is that right, Mr. Homan?
Yeah, if I can respond
And
to
you're
that.
you're the guy who has lived it, breathed it, felt it, managed it. You know more than, you have more expertise in this area than anyone in this room. Is that right?
I believe so, but let me
I know
respond.
so.
Let me respond to the one child that died. Is tragic.
Sure is.
But you know, as long as we're showing a lot of pictures, if I can have just 30 seconds, here's a picture.
Are Anand Ranganathan re. So Gorgo, BJP can't draw parallels. It's going to be shooting itself in the foot. It's going to be an extra step of a battle, because every commie in India is, of course, convinced that Trump is a racist, and many on the Hindutva socialist side are also convinced that Trump is a racist. So why would you go around convincing people first that, see, Trump is not racist and therefore I am also not racist? That's not going to happen.
Her name is Serenity. She was 9 months old, 9 months, raped and murdered by an illegal alien because of open borders policy. Here's Irana. She was 5 years old, raped repeatedly and murdered by an illegal alien. Here's Louise Solowin. She was 93, multiple rapes and murdered by an illegal alien. Here's a 16-year-old. Here's a law enforcement officer. I got hundreds of these in my desk drawer. So I've seen tears for people today.
This part is insane. This part is insane. Check out this part.
More than you have.
To the one child that died is tragic.
Sure is.
But you know, as long as we're showing a lot of pictures, if I can have just 30 seconds, here's a picture. Her name is Serenity. She was 9 months old, 9 months, raped and murdered by an illegal alien because of open borders policy. Here's Irana. She was 5 years old, raped repeatedly and murdered by an illegal alien. Here's Louise Solowin. She was 93, multiple rapes and murdered by an illegal alien. Here's a 16-year-old. Here's a law enforcement officer. I got hundreds of these in my desk drawer. So I've seen tears for people today, and I understand that. It's tragic when anybody dies. But let's not forget the angel moms and dads who I've all met and got to know. Their children died and they're separated forever. It's not a matter of location. They're dead. And a secure border would help prevent some of this. Sanctuary cities does not help this. Sanctuary cities this will increase because of the push of sanctuary cities. Come to our country, we'll protect you. You can even commit a crime, be in our county jail. We're not going to ice into the jail. So he'll go out, recidivism rates. Anybody can look them up. 50% reoffend the first year, up to 75 recidivate within 5 years. They're in the country illegally in violation of federal law. They're locked up in a county jail. Let us have access to them and do our job.
Yeah, so a 9-month-old has also been raped. 93-year-old also has been raped.
Before I ask my questions, since it has not yet been done, I think it's important to really make sure that the jingoistic, bigoted testimony of Mr. Homan.
Yes, Anand, of course, crimes are committed by American citizens as well. The argument here is that, yes, crimes are going to happen anyway. Why then are we supposed to take in extra criminals from elsewhere as well?
Is called out as nearly completely untrue, as being an outrage, and as a former official directing the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency, he should know better. So
Mr.
making
Chairman,
sure that I am.
Mr. Chairman.
No, this is my 5 minutes.
Well,
The word-
point
the
one,
word
what
bigoted,
did I say
I'm
was inaccurate?
Excuse me,
okay,
I'm not
let's-
asking a question.
Okay,
or-
the gentlelady is recognized for 5 minutes. She's made her point, and I will try to resolve any other issues at the end of her questioning. Okay.
Thank you. So I just think it's important that it's not accepted as accurate testimony.
Mr. Homan, is there a crisis on the border?
Of course.
And has there been a crisis there for a long time?
Yes.
I just want to get, because your testimony was at the broader issue, and this is critically important, but we also have a broader issue there. We got unbelievable numbers we've seen on the border with apprehensions and everything else, right?
Absolutely. If I can respond to the earlier remark from Wasserman Schultz, I forgot more about this issue than you ever know. So if you say my testimony is inaccurate, is wrong. Everything I said here is accurate. Bottom line, if you want to go toe to toe, I'm here. I'm here in my own time to speak to the American people about what's false
I'm
and
sure
what's
happy
fact.
to go toe to toe with you, Mr. Homan.
Well,
Happy to
I'm
do
here.
that any day.
But you got to let me respond to your question rather than
I didn't
dropping a
ask you a
bomb and
question.
running away.
It was my time.
So
and I
there is a
wasn't asking
crisis
you a
on the
question.
border. And it's not going to go away if we keep enticing.
M. Shastri is saying BJP used to make... No. He's saying the BJP needs to support its own ecosystem. They don't even know what's the meaning of support. Remember how Ajit Bharti pointed out right after 2024 elections that what exactly is their idea of an IT cell? How do they exactly go about it through third parties? How those third parties are also kind of frauds who just give them fake data that see your impression rate was like 76% likes used to get. Now you are getting 93% likes for everything. Someone may have just by chance scrolled your BJP post. So that's the data they show. So अरे ब्राह्मण भोजन ही नहीं किया, एकेडेमिया ही जहाँ पे तो मतलब रास्ता पूरा क्लियर है कि देखो ये करना है, ठीक है. क्रेडेंशियल्ड लोगों का लेफ्टिस्ट एकेडेमिया है, क्रेडेंशियल्ड नॉन लेफ्टिस्ट लोगों को बिठाना है. बिठाया ही नहीं किसी को. जब किसी को बिठाता भी है वो लोग भोसरी के कुछ उनका क्रेडेंशियल्स नहीं है. जिस दिन कांग्रेस पावर में आएगा इट विल बी सो वेरी वेरी इजी फॉर कांग्रेस टू किक आउट most of those fuckers who were sitting there with just personal connections and stuff. Now, Boisharidi was saying something important. Wait, anyway, I'll find it later on.
More and more, if we want to abolish ICE, we want to give away college education and driver's licenses and free medical care and reward illegal behavior. You're never going to solve the immigration
Rewarding illegal behavior, incentive structures.
crisis on the border. It's not going to happen.
Probably doesn't help them when certain members of
How
Congress.
does it happen here? It's an open secret. Some people organize everything for the illegal immigrants. Voter ID card, Aadhaar card, everything.
Congress criticize the agents down there trying to do their job. Probably doesn't help when you have pictures put on websites that talk about cages when in fact the picture was from the Obama administration. Probably doesn't help when you say the crisis is faked, contrived, and manufactured and hold off spending the $4.6 billion we needed to actually deal with a crisis that got much worse. Probably doesn't help with all those factors either, does it?
No, sir.
Probably doesn't help that you got cities declaring themselves sanctuaries. That probably doesn't help with the situation either.
Yes, and what Boshali is saying here, that ask the lefties of West Bengal what is the economy of Murshidabad. In local parlance, women go out, drugs come in. And of course, the women are happy with Lokhir Bhandar. Their husbands are working in the Gulf or Kerala, Mumbai, Delhi, waiter, laborer, maybe in Gujarat. And so maybe they get to both sides. Remember, as they say, in a long distance relationship, all four people are happy. It's four people plus Lokhir Bhandar.
And it doesn't help to have a missed message that all of a sudden deferred action is going away, that all of a sudden prosecutor discretion is going away for this policy change. I myself have approved many requests for stays of removal for medical issues. ICE doesn't put their heart on a shelf when they wear the badge and gun. All of a sudden they'll care about humanity. It's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous false narrative. And I'm going to be here to the day I die to defend the men and women of the Border Patrol and ICE who put it on the line every day for this country.
A quick question that I want to try to, or statement and then some clarification. It is my observation that when DHS rolled this policy change, for lack of a better term, until I get to the second panel to ask USCIS, when they rolled it out, it is my view that it was not rolled out the way it should be rolled out, right? It should have been rolled out a different way. And we'll see what that looks like in the next panel. If one thought that ICE was the best place to deal with deferred action, it would seem to me that the debate then is
For those of you who don't know that much of American politics, ICE is their border security force. Okay.
whether, the question here is where it should be. Should it be USCIS or should it be at ICE? And that if you're going to accept that premise, then what should have been done was much clearer notice given and a different kind of transition. Like, let's just assume for a minute, then a letter should have gone out or a phone call or, reach out and say, hey, no issue. You're going to keep getting health treatment. We're changing processes. This is the way ICE is now going to handle it, and so forth and so forth. So I think I'd like to just stipulate that that's my view.
Boshalidi, to be fair to CPM, actually such high-profile murderers and criminals, no, they get to live anywhere on planet Earth with fake IDs and stuff, because since anyone who is a significant criminal, it means that he is significantly effective for the other side, the side opposite of who was a victim, right? And so those significant people who are on the opposite side of the victim, they make sure that these significant criminals have at least a life that can go on in some other country where they will not be persecuted. Okay. The problem with Bengal at the moment is that any and every fucking illegal immigrant is getting the documents done. And I think it's only fair to assume, and it's probably common sense, that they are not having a very nice way of dealing when they are first coming to the country, and in terms of what businesses they are going to set up, what job they are going to get into. They are, I guarantee you, they are not being treated very well by their co-religionists, especially the upper caste ones. So it's an inhuman situation everyone's going through. At the end of the day, maybe in years, that guy or his kids will become the street power for their side, or they are going to be the street power right now. So no one's happy around him, and he's not happy. But of course, it's still happier than Bangladesh, but we need to prevent it anyway. And allegedly, there are 3-4 other people involved with in the murder of the RG doctor. So 2 Muslim men, 1 Muslim girl, and 1 Hindu guy. Where are all those 4 people? Probably in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, somewhere, right? What are they doing there? Their lives are probably kind of pretty much fucked. They will spend in those ghettos of Dubai, UAE, because people who know a bit about UAE, or at least have been there, know that entirety of UAE is not just Burj Khalifa. There are insanely poor slave-like situations for other classes as well in UAE. They're going to probably live there, open up their fake doctor's practice, and probably clean plates in some restaurant. Think of the Better Call Saul situation. That's going to be their life for the rest of their lives. But they have been, of course, given safe passage by someone.
If you're transitioning the way you previously handled something, then you need to have something like that. We'll ask the second panel about that. Having said that.
Yeah, that guy's name is something Azad.
I am interested in continuing to learn where it should exist. We'll hear from USCIS in a minute, but I want to understand, Mr. Homan, on that question. We'll come to this other stuff in a minute. With respect to ICE and why you think it's the best place, can you speak to the question at hand here about, I think, the fear of somebody's here, they're in a tough situation, and you're saying, okay, we're getting shoved into a pipeline for expedited removal.
What stuff? The stuff I'm saying. I have already entered FIR territory. This is not official news. These are just murmurs, because some girl had posted these things allegedly. That's where I first came to know of it. Of course, it was kind of common sense to me that the only reason you are hearing the name of the alleged rapist is because he is Hindu, and how can just one guy, one skinny fucking guy, rape someone in such a brutal manner? If someone else's name is not coming out, that means they are close to top people or are from a different religion. Then some screenshots came out. Some doctors posted in their some liberal commie doctors only. They posted these things in their Facebook groups, their doctors groups and their RG groups and stuff. They got kicked out of those groups. They got called anti-secular and stuff, and that also motivated a lot of doctors and pissed off a lot of doctors, and therefore they joined the movement with much more passion and vigor, and has probably changed their minds on the Hindutva issue as well.
And then hoping there might be a question of discretion.
Well,
And can you kind of walk through how that might work in ICE?
let's be clear in my testimony. What I've said is, as a law enforcement officer, prosecutorial discretion needs to be in the hands of those who have statutory authority over those laws. It is case-by-case determination.
All right.
Once you carve out a whole class of people you want prosecutor discretion, there's no longer prosecutor discretion based on case-by-case. Now, we have talked about states. That's what ICE currently do. They give states removal. Mr. Marino, what he says, I'm not disagreeing with him. Is ICE prepared to make other decisions that CIS is making? That's a question for ICE in the next panel.
Right.
What I've talked about is ICE needs to have the authority of prosecutorial discretion, and that's a legal issue. And I think those decisions, no other agencies to say, well, ICE can't remove that person. That needs to be ICE prosecutor discretion, or you shouldn't put in proceedings. That needs to be ICE's decision. Now, are they prepared to do that? Because they normally don't. You have to ask the next panel that. So I'm not lying on my testimony. I'm speaking to my 30 years of doing this and what I think prosecutorial discretion means.
So and the reason I think this matters, right, is the purpose of, I hope there's general agreement about the process and the communication and what should have occurred there, that we can have a debate, as I think we had a good conversation, Mr. Ocasio-Cortez and Mr. Meadows, about.
What is Delhi's incentive here to allegedly let Goenka fund illegal immigration?
Okay, where do we go forward on this, on that question? We'll ask the next panel some of these, but it is important for us not to send some signal of, panic, to use Mr. Meadows' term, that anything is going to be problematic going forward, that we'll address the issue and try to reconcile whatever gaps there are here. I do think it's also important to note on this question of deferred action, the questions of when it is a discretion for a prosecutor, right? This is at the court of DACA and DAPA, right? We had this litigation in DAPA. We went to the court and the court agreed that was something more.
DACA is DACA, a sort of law that was passed by Barack Obama to protect children who came to USA when they were absolutely toddlers and newborns and stuff, and with their parents who were illegal immigrants. And so you can't kick them out now because they've spent an entire lifetime in USA. And there, I think Trump is going to have at least some sort of, probably not legal difficulty, but moral difficulty maybe. Because even I'm divided on the DACA issue, because these guys have nothing to do with Mexico, essentially. Although they play their person of color card pretty well. They are in top liberal universities and stuff, but not all of them. So I wonder what to do about DACA.
Than discretion. That was something beyond discretion. And I think what we see here in a sort of separation here is that what we're talking about here is discretion. I think Ms. Waddy, I was looking at your testimony, the data points there. You said one data I was able to identify included 118 deferred actions, of which 107 were approved, pending or unknown, in a particular data set that you had, indicating that each one is case by case, and there were 8 that didn't qualify. I have no idea what those 8 were, but that's a decision by case by case decision. To that end, let me ask you one question, final in my last 5 minutes, Mr. Homan. Would you like to address, and would you please address any of the?
Yeah, I
statements
want to
made
address
against
the last comments made about me being appalling. And first of all, I served my country for 34 years. I saved many lives, and I ran an agency. Let's be frank in what ICE does. ICE last year took a season of opioids off the streets of this country that could have killed every man, woman, and child in the United States twice. They've arrested thousands of sexual predators that preyed on children. They rescued thousands of children who were victims of predators. They arrested hundreds of women.
The way he's speaking, you see how much he is not used to speaking in that nice, fake, humble, polished way, manner, a politician way of speaking. This guy's a street smart law enforcer, basically.
They were victims of sex trafficking. I am proud of the agency in ICE. And what we don't want to talk about is nearly 90% of everybody ICE arrests for immigration violations either have a criminal history or are pending criminal charges when they were found. I mean, they were found in a county jail, which most likely means they weren't a choir boy. So to mismessage what the work the men and women of ICE do is, I find appalling that a member of Congress would throw that out there like that. In my 34 years, I've never seen such hate toward a law enforcement agency in my life that you want to abolish them rather than doing your job and legislate. If they don't like it, legislate.
Oh my God.
Mr.
Homan, according to the rules of this
of enacting laws.
Mr. Homan,
they
your
want
time
enforce.
is
হাতুড়ি মারলেই হলো নাকি?
Expired. Zero tolerance was interpreted as the policy that separated children from their
If I get arrested for DUI and I have a young child in the car, I'm going to be separated. When I was a police officer in New York and I arrested a father for domestic violence, I separated that father
Mr.
from his
Homan, with
family.
all due respect, legal asylees are not charged with any crime.
अरे भाई illegal immigrant को लेकर बात हो रहा है. They are illegal. How are they not making a crime to begin with? And if they are asylees, how can everyone be an asylum seeker? Okay, anyone who claims to be an illegal immigrant all of a sudden becomes an asylum seeker. Everyone is being persecuted all around the world apparently, and for everyone, all of those asylum seekers, their last hope is either Hindu fascist India or evil capitalist USA. ये कैसा asylum है भाई?
When you're in the country illegally, it's violation 8 United States Code 1325.
Seeking asylum is legal.
If you want to seek asylum and go through the port of entry, do it the legal way.
Yes.
The Attorney General of the United States has made
Oh my God. AOC had to keep quiet. She is flabbergasted with a counter argument from a man. And then she see how she reacts. Okay. She did not have words for a while at least. She's looking at her notes. She's looking at her notes. She's fucked here. At least on the argument side.
8 United States Code 1325.
Seeking asylum is legal.
If you want to seek asylum and go through the port of entry, do it the legal way. The Attorney General of the United States has made that clear.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Earlier, my colleague from Maryland, Mr. Raskin, asked the panel.
Yeah, in the context of Bharat is already effed, etc. Now, Boishaliti said something. I want to address that. Do people realize what a national security threat? Yeah, that. I don't think India understands that the West Bengal-Assam border is as big a national security threat as the Western frontier. I think it's now the rest of India has woken up to this fact because everyone Bengal was sort of don't see, don't ask, or don't ask, don't tell policy, or out of sight, out of mind kind of. But you see, now because of Himanto, the entire conversation is so much on Northeast, and let's say how much Bengal sucks. That has also brought a lot of spotlight to Bengal. But see, World War III is going to happen anyway. The sort of online unity of the right wing of the entire world, unanimously against wokeism, is of course temporary, right? Because someday or the other, the hard questions have to be asked. Okay, are going to be asked that Taiwan is going to be invaded. We are not going to do anything about it. Who gets pissed off with us? Okay, or fuck Taiwan. Maybe Taiwan is settled. Some other dispute. Someone will always keep on creating dispute. Some dispute or the other. Okay, someday or the other, either China or USA is going to get pissed off with India. And in our lifetimes, we are not going to become as powerful or rich as China or USA, especially not with so many Kisan Netas and labor mafia and labor unions and stuff. Just imprison, just house arrest all our Kisan Netas and see our GDP shoot up fivefolds in 10 years. But anyway, so then again, those relationships are going to erode, and then the World War III is going to happen, and everyone's going to blame right-wing nationalists of all countries again. And this time, India is going to be counted among those countries as well. We are in that phase where everyone was kind of friends, and then all of a sudden Hitler becomes the enemy and gets hated and stuff. Or at least USA and Stalin were also friends, and then all of a sudden all hell breaks loose. We are in that phase right now. But we probably won't be alive to witness those days. But let this video, this live stream, remind our future generations that the only reason liberalism, this global village idea failed all over the world. Everyone was ready. Okay, liberalism, Westernism, Americanism had almost succeeded. Okay, all of us were convinced of this idea that yes, culture se kya hoga. We are all global villagers in one nice, cute community. And which is why I laugh at Hindutwadis from the villages of India, or even on Twitter from the villages of Bengal, who think it's some sort of an achievement that they've come up with for not being wokes. No, bro. All of you vote for Lokit Bhandar, and wokeism would reach your villages in another 5 to 6 years. It takes some time, of course. It's an idea. It's traveling fast through people, word of mouth, emulation. Okay, people copying each other, people copying elites. Okay, villages of India would be woke in another 5 to 10 years. There would be people identifying as different things in every village. The only reason you are not woke right now in Indian villages is because it just didn't reach you. Because people like Ben Shapiro, Jordan Peterson, Trump, they stopped it. Okay, they nipped it in the bud. So we got saved. But anyway, the only reason liberalism actually failed is because they were too tolerant of the only one intolerant in the entire world. Everyone was on board with this idea. Everyone. Christians had almost become liberals, barring a few evangelicals. Hindus were already up in arms about liberalism. Only reason it failed, only reason everyone said fuck this, because you were always tolerant of the intolerant. Okay, so anyway, when World War III happens and someone gets pissed off with India, or someone gets pissed off with China and nukes them, who's a neighbor of China? So you see, I don't see under any circumstance that 100 years from now the entire eastern portion of India is intact in any way. Either Bangladesh is going underwater, South Bengal is going underwater, or it's a fight between Bangladeshis and Biharis, or Northeast has either gotten nuked or faced side effects of nukes that hit China. Imagine a nuclear wasteland, all the video games and dystopian horrors you've thought of, seen on the streets of USA or on the plains of USA. Imagine it on the hills of Northeast. No more eating dogs then, guys.
How many people here believe that child separation is an effective policy in deterrence? And no one on the panel raised their hand. I just wanted to note that for the record, Mr. Chair. I wanted to ask a question from Professor Mukherjee. Is the United States...
Who is this Mukherjee? Remember, AOC already had someone called Shoykot Chakraborty, who was a commie, but was a fan of Netaji. So he wore a Netaji t-shirt one day and he got called a Nazi sympathizer and had to quit his job with AOC because of that.
Violating or violated human rights agreements set by the United Nations in a family separation policy?
Yes. International law is clear that family unity should be prioritized.
So we, as members of the United Nations, signed on into an international human rights agreement saying very clearly that family separation is a violation of international human rights, and then we pursued a policy that violates human rights.
Oh my God, not only is she cringy, and she speaks slow as well.
You know, Mr. Chair, I was looking, how did we get to this point? How did we get to this point where we take children out of mothers' and fathers' arms?
How did we get
And,
there?
you know, it dated back, family separation, the way that we have seen it, where we take children away from their parents without due process, began last year under Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen, but I had to dig further, and our staff dug further. But where did this
Oh, she was out of words for a while, and then she dug up stuff with the help of Shoika Chakraborty.
start within the administration? She implemented it.
Oh
And we
my
found a
God.
memo, dates back to April 23rd of 2018, where there was an official recommendation to, quote, pursue prosecution of all amenable adults who cross our border, quote, illegally, even though this applied to legal asylum seekers in practice,
Someone Googled it and gave it to her.
including those presenting with a family unit between ports of entry in coordination with DOJ. Here is the memo that I would like to submit to the congressional record.
What's the name of that?
It is the memorandum for the Secretary from Homeland Security.
Date.
April 23rd, 2018, subject increasing prosecutions of immigration violations.
Without objection.
So
Given-
I'd be happy to provide.
Look at Homan's face.
I'd have to see what you.
give-
Ah, hey, Bhosri ke.
I'd be happy to provide it. And we'll provide it over, but I would like to note that here it says the official recommendation. There were 3 different options presented. The third included the option for family separation. This initiative would pursue prosecution of all amenable adults, including those presenting with a family unit. Mr. Homan, your name is on this. Is this correct?
Yes, I signed that memo.
So you are the author of the family separation
I
policy.
am not the author of this memo.
You're not the author, but you signed the memo.
Yes, a zero tolerance
I love this part. I love this part. Listen to what's going to happen now. This is insane.
memo.
So you provided the official recommendation to Secretary Nielsen on family, for the United States to pursue family separation.
I gave Secretary Nielsen numerous recommendations on how to secure the border and save lives.
But it says here that you gave her numerous options, but the recommendation was option 3, family separation.
What I'm saying, this is not the only paper where we've given the secretary numerous options to secure the border and save lives.
And so the recommendation
Listen to the
of the
final-
many that you recommended,
Final masterstroke counter argument. Okay, it's not come yet.
you recommended family separation,
I recommend a zero tolerance.
which includes family separation.
The same as is with every U.S. citizen parent gets arrested when they're with a child.
Again, she's out of words. She's checking her notes. अरे भोसरी के ये इसका counter argument कहाँ पे है? Okay, like a call center. That it's what happens with every US citizen when they get arrested. What's new here? Family separation. तो branding का तो game है social science वालों का. नाम दिया है family separation. तो कुछ बहुत ही भयानक चीज होगा.
Zero tolerance was interpreted as the policy that separated children from their
If I get arrested for DUI and I have a young child in the car, I'm
Driving under influence or drinking under, driving drunk. Okay, that's DUI. Listen to this argument.
Zero tolerance was interpreted as the policy that separated children from their.
If I get arrested for DUI and I have a young child in the car, I'm going to be separated. When I was a police officer in New York and I arrested a father for domestic violence, I separated that father
Mr.
from his
Homan, with
family.
all due respect,
Interruption.
legal asylees are not charged with any crime.
When you're into the country illegally, it's violation 8 United States Code 1325.
Seeking asylum is legal.
If you want to seek asylum, you go through the port of entry, do it the legal way.
Yeah.
The Attorney General of the United States has made that clear.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay. Oh fuck. This was insane. Yeah. That's the end of our live stream discussion today on illegal immigration. Oh my god, this was insane. So this guy is now the head of border security in USA. Yeah. Aju is saying the worst event to this day, the best event to this day calls Netaji Nazi, and that angers me more because the government that supports Netaji is in power. Oh yes, yes. Narrative counter to bhai without academics se nahi hota hai. But what's hilarious is that some people hate him because he was a Nazi, West, some commies. Some people hate him because he was a socialist. Now, a lot of Hindutwadis hate him because he was a socialist or a communist. So, if you're going to hate Netaji anyway, so hate him for any fucking thing. Who gives a shit? I don't. I guess West and South Okay. Get ready for amigos. Yeah. They think behaving like Cardi B and yes, this is what happens when you don't prep opposition arguments. Yes. Opposition arguments? Do they even how can fascists have arguments? Okay. Okay then. Thanks for joining our live stream, guys. Good night.
श्रवरूढं महाभीमं गुणाद्रष्टाङ्गरप्रदं हस्य युक्तं त्रिनेत्रं च कपालकर्णिकाकरान् मुक्तकेशीं ललज्जयं पिबन्तीं रुधिरं चतुर्बाहु समायुक्तः